Howdy, folks. Grok the DuckFarmer here, and I'm playing Factory in the Sky 4 on the FTOG server, and it's been longer than my normal schedule for posting things because real life just reared up its ugly head and caused all sorts of issues. One of the things that I will share, which has been both fun and annoying, is we have two cats. We have Charlie Cat and Millie Cat, and they're lovely cats. But we're fostering a third because we have a relative that is going to be heading over to Hawaii, and there are a whole bunch of restrictions and rules and regulations about taking pets over to Hawaii. They don't have rabies in the Hawaiian Islands, and they want to keep it that way. So one of the requirements is any cat that goes over has to have at least 2 documented rabies shots, and those shots have to be at least a month apart. And then after you wait, I think it's like another month, you have to do a blood draw, which gets sent off to a lab, and they verify that there's rabies antibodies in the blood. And there's some other things too that needs to be done, but that rabies thing, that's a bunch of months right there. So we've gotten, like I said, a relative came over, fostering the cat. The name of the cat is the Brigadier. Often goes by Briggy. He's a dark brown chocolate cat. Very often looks black, but is really dark brown. A couple little places where you can see highlights and go, oh, that's a little bit lighter brown, and a little blaze of white on his tummy, which you rarely see unless he's on his back. Anyway, cute, floofy fuzzball, very good-natured cat. And so we've got our family member here and slowly introducing the cats, because you don't just take cats and throw them together. They really need a bunch of time to integrate with each other. And so our standard way of doing that is we take the new cat. Most recently, it was Millie about 3 years ago now, and in this case, Bree. We put in the upstairs bathroom and lock the doors. And we feed them in there. We take care of them there. We visit them. They have a litter box in there, a little bed that they can sleep on. We come in and we give them loves and pets and all the rest, and then we leave. And we're giving that cat a chance to establish an area of comfortability in that room. And we've done this with all of our cats. This would be the 4th cat that we've broken in, so to speak, and we've done this with all of them. Even with Roxy and Charlie, who did this by themselves. There were no other cats. So first they spend a day or 2 or 3 in the bathroom, where they get to make that area their home. They get their scent in there, and they're comfortable with that. Then when that's done, we'll introduce them into the master bedroom, which is right off that bathroom. And they've got a little bit more area they can explore. They can meet with us at night. Quite often they will jump on the bed, or if they're not as comfortable there, they'll go elsewhere. We have cat beds and cat places established. A lot of times they like to go under the bed. We have boxes under the bed so they don't get too far deep, but there's a little space under the bed they can get to. And so they've expanded their space a little bit more. Now, in the case of, and then after 2-3 days with access to the bedroom, then we'll open up that door and let them explore the rest of the house, because they've got a couple rooms that are theirs that they can go to. With Roxy, such a very timid cat, she spent a good amount of time hiding underneath the toilet in the bathroom for hours and days at a time. She had a hard time because she was so very timid. But once she got the acceptance that this is my room, and she put her smell there, she was far more comfortable. She would come out. Took a while to agree with the bedroom and realized, okay, this has got my smell now. Okay, this is fine. And just when we opened up the door and let her roam the rest of the house, it took her about half an hour before she got out of the main bedroom and slowly worked her way down the main hallway into the rest of the house. And she'd go back and walk out a little bit, and then she'd run back and walk out a little bit. And it took her a long time. With Charlie, when we got him, same process. Put him in the bathroom for a couple days, then into the master bedroom, and then once he was ready to leave, he was able to go out to the rest of the house because it already smelled of cat. Cats have scent glands on their cheeks that when they rub up against you or the walls or whatever, they're putting their cat smell there. And because cats live by smell, you'd think they do things more by sight, but yeah, just like dogs, a lot by smell. Anyway, with Millie, we were introducing Millie with Charlie, and with Briggy to the rest. We gave them the bathroom. After a couple days, the bedroom. And both Charlie and Millie were most upset because they like sleeping in the bedroom. Millie has a little cat bed on the bottom of the at the base of the bed on a wooden chest. There's a cat bed there, and that's her favorite nighttime sleep spot. And Charlie likes to sleep right next to us on the bed, and he wasn't able to do so. He was most upset. So he slept with our relative down in the pull-out sofa bed. That was fine. But to get these new cats, to introduce them to the existing cats, we would feed them side by side on the doors. So their smell was going past, they're having the good times of eating, lots of things like that. Finally, when it was time to introduce them a little bit more, we would open up one of the doors like an inch, and we would allow them to see each other through that little tiny crack. And sometimes we'd feed them little treats next to each other. It was funny because we put a treat down for Briggy, and it was too close to the door, and Charlie snuck a paw through the crack to snag the treat and ate it. It was very funny. But we give them a little tiny bit of a vision to each other, but not very much, and do that a couple times the next day or two. And then we'll bring out a baby gate, and we'll put that in front of our door, put towels tacked up to the door on top of that. So it's the illusion of there's a solid space, but they can look at each other through the baby gate. The smell of each other can get through the baby gate. They're getting more accustomed that way. Another thing we can do is scent transference, where you take a clean sock and you put it on your hand, and then you go to one of the cats and you rub them, especially around their face, their cheeks, to get that smell of that cat. Rub them. Go to the other cat, let them smell that, and then rub them. Now you're transferring the first cat smell onto the second cat. Rub, 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 rub. And then you can go back to the first cat, because now there's both smells on that, and you rub them. And you can just repeat that a couple times. You're layering each cat's smell on the other cat. And that's a way of introducing each other. They become a familiar thing rather than something they don't know. So that's what we did. And then as we had the door open more and more with the baby gate in place, they could see each other. We'd feed them on either side. Occasionally we noticed, typically Charlie and Briggy were both, reaching paws through the gate, trying to reach the other. They both approached each other and sniffed each other. And that was a really good sign, because there was no hissing. There was no problem with that. They were just both saying, "Hey, who are you? Hi, how are you doing?" Kind of a cat equivalent of a handshake. "Hi, how are you doing? Nice to meet you," sort of thing. And so they were getting along very, very nicely. Millie, on the other hand, as soon as she would see him, would start hissing. We were saying, "Wait a second, we thought it would be the other way around. We thought Charlie would be super territorial, and Millie would be the one that would interact very fine, because she's kind of fearless. She runs up to strangers when they come to the house and go, "Hi, how are you? Who are you? What, I want to play." She does that. She does that a lot. But anyway, we were introducing each other that way, and then we decided to flip the locations, and we put Charlie and Millie in the bathroom and in the bedroom, and then we allowed Briggy to come out and explore the rest of the house. And the first 2 hours, he was slinking around, his tail was down. He had very much I don't know this place, I'm not sure what's around here. I can smell some cats, but I don't see them. Are they going to jump out on me anytime soon? A lot of that high stress. But after about 4 hours, his tail was up. He was alert. He was running around all over the place. He had explored all the house. He was a lot more familiar with it and was very much had accustomed himself to the rest of the house. He'd hit his nose on all the scent markers in the place, and so he was doing much better. And as they were getting back and forth and there at the baby gate, Charlie was getting more and more interested in interacting. And we were saying, oh, okay, I see Charlie is far more interested in this. I opened up the door at one point, so the baby gate was there in the way. And I noticed that Charlie was jumping up on the book stand next to the door and looking at the gap at the top of the doorway, because we had put two towels up, and there's maybe a foot, 18 inches of gap at the top that I didn't put a third towel on. And I said, ooh, put him down. He jumped up. I put him back down. I was saying, no, you can't do that. I should have closed the door, but I didn't. By the time I grabbed some more tacks and another towel, Charlie had launched himself from that bookshelf top over almost the towel at the top. And what he really did is he hit the second top towel and kind of knocked it through. And so he was over. And he ran off to find where Briggy was, and they started touching noses. And Charlie really wanted to be with Briggy. Millie said, hey, I want to do this too. So as I was tacking the towel back in place, she hopped over because she realized, hey, it's not a solid wall anymore. And so she was going, yep, I'm over here. I want to interact. And while there's been hissing with Millie, the distance between the hisses has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller. So it's going to take a while for them to fully integrate and get going, but they're doing well. And that's far longer than I actually wanted to talk about that, but that's a lot of what I've been doing for the last little while. Actually, I don't need to have these seeds doing stuff because I've got like near 3,000 seeds already set up. I'm going to put you here and you here. And I like with the little, just the first tier stack upgrade, 80 seeds are all I really need. And that works really, really well. Anyway, so that works out there. What I do want to do is play with Immersive Engineering. Speaking of which, let's take a quick look at the steel. And yeah, see, I've got over 3,000 of these steel ingots and 1.3 of the dark steel, but that's Ender IO. We don't need that. I do have a few of these essences, and these are what's coming from when seeds get reprocessed, because I don't need more than those 80 seeds, so they get reprocessed. Okay, that's done, and that'll just come in and I'll reprocess these. I could automate that, but there's so few, I don't care. Anyway, 3,000 steel ingots, plenty and plenty of steel stuff to do with Immersive Engineering. So let's come over here to this space, and I decided to go ahead and put my Immersive Engineering stuff into here. It's a good space for it, but it's something that I'm not going to build every one of the Immersive Engineering devices. I don't really feel the need for that. But one of the very first things to do is make a coke oven. So if we take a look at this, coke brick, not all that hard to make, some sort of brick of some sort of sandstone and clay. You need to make 27 of these. So that's 9 sets of these coke brick. And then you do a 3x3x3 setup, and then you hit it with your engineer's hammer. You should have already made one at this point. If we take a look, it's just iron, 2 sticks, and some string. Not too hard. I wish it didn't take up durability, but it does. And so as I've used it doing things, it's taken up a little bit durability, which is not so great. If we look at some of the things, you can crush the raws into powder, or in this case, dust, which is useful for several different recipes. There's a ton of different things. Yeah, we can also use that to make plates, which early on, that's probably the best way to make these various plates. And it's a 2-to-1 cost, which is not great, but you know, that works. And then you can also make rods. Here we go. Where you set up the pattern a little bit differently, and you can make these rods, which is useful for several other different recipes. Oh, I hadn't seen this one. Oh, that's a revolver barrel. Yeah, I haven't done any of the gun stuff. Multi-block, yes. If you select this highlighted red spot of a multi-block system and hit it with the hammer, it converts into the full device. Like this is the blast furnace, and I don't need that for right now. Let's look for my iron for or the coke oven. I don't see the coke oven. Well, oh, unless this happens to be the coke oven. Yep. This is the coke oven. Anyway, so you do the 3x3x3 of the coke brick, smack the middle of any side with the hammer, and right click, and it will form as this coke oven. So you just grab it. I took blocks of coke and ran it through there, and it slowly cooked those. And there's creosote, that's a byproduct. And you can see here's a bucket of creosote oil. You can put a bucket here and it'll get filled. And there's enough for 12 buckets here. But what I did is I made a jumbo tank and just used a regular fluid pipe to pull the stuff out. And so it's gone ahead and generated for me 46 buckets. Well, really it was 52. I'm trying to think of 54. I think 54 because I already used, I think, 6 buckets, 8 buckets. I don't remember. I think it was 8 buckets that I used to make creosoted or treated wood. So the treated wood planks, any sort of planks with a bucket of creosote gives you 8 of the treated wood. And then from that, you can sit there and make, here we use, you can sit there and make treated sticks. You can make all sorts of different things that are treated. And I like the look. It's a nice dark chocolatey brown. You'll want some treated wood fences and stuff, because the next thing you want to make is this, the engineer's workbench. So slabs, wood fence, all of those are very vanilla. This, more slabs, more treated sticks, and a crafting bench. And that gives you this guy right here, the engineer's workbench, which if you right click, you can put stuff in. I went ahead and made an engineer's wire cutters, which again uses durability, and again, you can't repair. I wish I could repair these. I like having repaired stuff, but 2 sticks of any sort plus an ingot, not a problem. Then there's the engineer's blueprint. And this one, just an iron plate, die, and the paper. And this gives me this one. If I hit the shift, it does these various molds, bullet casings, gears, packing, plates. The last 4 are what I'm really interested. The wire, the rod, the plate, and the gear. Well, not all the last 4. Anyway, to make, yeah, here's like the metal press plate. So 3 steel press plates plus that with that engineer's blueprint will give you the metal press mold plate. There we go. It's like a tongue twister. So you get that, and that's useful with the metal press. Oh, something that's always worth making is the manual. Lever in a book, easy. But the nice thing about the manual is it has information about making these bits. So if we go back, lots of information documented in here. I love in-game documentation. Charlie, are you wanting to jump up here? I'll give you a little pet. There you go. He will jump up if he wants. I wanted to jump right into heavy machinery and the metal press. And by default, it shows the construction of the device, which I really like, but I pause it. And then you can go through layer by layer to make this. And again, that highlighted with red center block, that's where we want to make it. Plus lots of information about, how to do all this. In fact, I've got it set up right here. Well, I've got a place for it to go right here. Here's the various press molds that I have made. And let's grab all these bits, because we need a scaffold there, the redstone engineering block here. I'm just going to throw the piston. It's the wrong orientation. I want to fly. There we go. Now we put the heavy engineer's block on top, and I can break this, and I have to crouch and look at this little corner. Now it's facing down. That's what I want. So if I right click this, oh, I forgot. I've got to get the conveyor belts. They are part of this multi-block. Why did that push me down? Oh, I think this active. Anyway, I want it to go that direction. This now I can activate. Ta-da! There's your metal press, which is fabulous. And I want to grab this. I just want to look at my inventory. And this is the dropper conveyor belt. If we look at the recipe for it, it's just a regular conveyor belt, not a problem. But with that plate, and I went iron plate rather than steel plate because iron is cheaper than steel. But anything that comes along here automatically drops into the chest below, which is fantastical. I'm going to grab this and put the plate right there. So now it knows what to press. And I'm going to put power up here. And yeah, I do like watching the wires with immersive engineering, but I've already got those gates. I'm going to not worry about it. Let's grab some iron because I don't have any iron. Yeah, I don't see any iron plates. Let's grab like half a stack of these. Plate. Yeah, I've got some steel plates, but I don't have any iron plates. So I'm going to prep this for later. And this is just an item pipe. And the nice thing is it will push just what this thing needs. So it gives me one iron plate at a time, or iron ingot, which gets crushed into an iron plate and then comes over to here and thump. You can see it go flip, and it goes right into here. Perfect. This, the gear, it requires 4 ingots at a time. In fact, I'm going to make some gears. Let's grab this out. And if I swap out the plate for the gear, drop you in there. So now when I toss this in, it should give me all 4 at a time. Yep. There's 4. Gone. So it will toss all of them in a time in here. So now I've got iron gears. Not that I really know what I want to do with iron gears, but they have a recipe of 4 ingots. By default, this item pipe, as well as the Ender IO item conduits, they will push out 4 items at a time. So that's perfect. If I used immersive engineering, let's take a look. And here's one of my few complaints about immersive engineering. I really wish that it had a better extraction option. Let's go conveyors. So here's the various conveyor bits, but this is an extracting conveyor belt, and I could put that. That's also an extracting conveyor belt. This one here, I could. The scaffold means that the items in them can't be pulled out, which is good. This one means they can. But if I were to put that extracting conveyor belt here and then the chest next to it, it would pull out 1 item at a time, which would not be bad for the press because this only can take 1 item at a time. It would pass right through. But because it does 1 item at a time, if I'm doing the gear and it needs 4, items float here and my magnet picks it up. And that's very annoying. It's very, very annoying. This, for me, works out super, super well. I love that. And now I can get 1 plate for 1 ingot, which is a much, much cheaper way of doing it than doing it with 2, which is not so good. Hi, Charlie. You jumped up onto the desk. Are you wanting pets or are you looking for food? He shouldn't be looking for food because he's already eaten and that shouldn't be there, but he's always hungry. Oh, and I've got a lever here. I'm going to put that right here because that way I can turn that on to turn this off. That redstone signal locks the process. So if I put some iron or some other ingots on here, nothing happens. And I always like having the ability to lock things off. Oh, he got off the desk. So I'm free. Over here, I'm going to make one of the other devices from Immersive Engineering that I really like. And let's grab all these bits here. And I'm going to grab the book because back out of here, I want to make the crusher. Pause it, and we'll start putting that in place here. There are projections that will allow me to see what in place in the world, what the items are, but I haven't done that. So Let's do this. And then that goes there and over here. And then I need this light engineering. That goes there and there and there, there and there, and not that one. Go away. That should be the bottom. Let's take a quick gander. Yep, it's got the 2 of 3, and yes, so that's there. Next layer up, that repeats, and that's the redstone. So let's put the redstone here, and oh, there's one there, 1, 2, 3, and here's where the steel fences go around the center, like that. And then I need 9 hoppers, and I'll put them on top of these fences. And whoops, I misplaced that one. Right there. And this, I've got a chest here with, again, one of those item pipes coming down, which goes into the center of the hopper. That's where items get inputted, and you just need to drop them in. But again, because of magnets, I don't want to have free fall dropping items. I'm going to use the pipes, which works out really well. Let's grab the hammer, and you hit the center. Well, if we take a look at this, go once more, there's the hoppers, and there is no more. So I need to hit that scaffold, not scaffold, the pipes here, the steel fence right here, right click. There's the crusher. Now, one of the nice things, oh, and redstone signal over here, I'll lock that from working. And then I've got a gate here, which I'm going to put right on top of that spot right there. So now this is powered up. So if I grab something that I can crush, let's grab cobble. So if I just grab some plain cobblestone and put that in the center, it's dumping in sets of 4 items into the crusher, but nothing's happening because I have locked it off. And I think it's going to take the entire stack. Yep. Okay, so it has at least a stack's worth of storage in the crusher itself. And there's no accessing the items once it's inside there. You can't get anything. Oh, and then you also want to be very careful because this will actually damage you because it's grindy bits. Let's actually turn it on. There we go. Grindy bits. That will damage you. You can die if you really are not careful. So that's another good reason to have inputs be far away from everything else. All right, so, and it's slowly generating cobble, or not cobble, but gravel here for me, which is fantastic. If we hit U on this, and can I crush that? Up there's the crusher. I can crush gravel into sand with a chance of getting flint, and then from sand, can I crush that into dust? So far, no. I'm looking for the crusher. So yeah, it does not look like I can use the crusher to turn sand into dust. That's the smelter, that's the deconstructor. Yeah, it looks like, well, if I just do, I don't care. But anyway, that was pretty fast. It did an entire stack of gravel super, super fast, which is great. I do like that. And then there's one other device, which is hands down my favorite. And if we take a look at this, I love the excavator. Now you look at this big bad boy, and it's generating right now a 2-part device that allows you to mine ores out of nothing. Okay, it's not really nothing. It's there's a layer that you can't see that Immersive Engineering puts in the world of different ores. And what you can do is take this, the Mineral Surveyor tool, and it wants to look at, oh, let me grab a gravel. Actually, I don't have to grab a gravel because I've got a piece of gravel right over here. Some of these blocks, like grass, if I right click and hold, it says there's no mineral traces, which is great. But if I try that on a brick, I can't use that for a mineral survey. Can I do it on that? Nope. But I can on gravel. So if you've got a bunch of stuff that you're looking for, and you can just lay down gravel, or nope, can't do it with stone. But gravel works, and evidently dirt too. You can sit there and do a quick mineral survey with this device. And this is not all that hard to make. Hammer, oh, we saw that already. Tough fabric, that's just industrial hemp around a stick of some sort. And then also book and quill. which requires an ink sac, and I had one. I don't know where I got it, maybe a random quest reward or something, but yeah, I got a single ink sac. That was all it I had. Uh, if you come across and you find that there are some minerals in the world and it's raining out it outside of the void. The void has no minerals because it's the freaking void. And unfortunately, because this is a skyblock map, the overworld, which is again a void world, has no minerals. And I also took a look at the Nether, and I took a look at the deeper and darker dimension, other side, I think it's the other side, and the Aether. Took a look at that dimension. Nope, none of them have any. Oh, the end might. The end might. But anyway, the other thing that you could do is once you can make this the core sample drill, and it's not that hard. Light engineering blocks, some fences and scaffolding, and you apply this with some power and a redstone signal. You drop it down on a suitable block, like if it can survey it, it's a suitable block. So grass would work. When you find a mineral deposit, you use the core sample drill, and it will make a sample that you can right click out that should show you items in there. But you can also carefully place it in the world. I think it's shift click and put it on the world to mark where you've marked. And when you find a really good vein of stuff that you like, then you can set up the excavator in that chunk, and you can get yourself some resources very nicely. Well, I set up one mainly because I love the look of this thing, and it's so very impressive. I just love this. You've got the large wheel that's doing the excavating, and then this device that surrounds it. And I threw a gate on it to power it up. Here's where the items would be spit out. I should put a lever on here because I always want to be able to turn things off, but it's not doing anything even though it's powered up because there's no resources to grab. You could get many thousands of whatever resources are in that vein using this. Yes, it does take power, like 4K power, but like I have any problems with generating lots of power anyway. So this is a fantastic device. The model looks great. It's a great way of getting resources without digging up the environment, and especially for real, with quotes in my fingers, overworlds where people could dig down, or they make big holes and pits and gaps, and it looks really ugly as people have kind of torn things up in the landscape. This will allow you to harvest lots of resources without tearing up the landscape. That's fantastic, and I like it a lot. Unfortunately, it won't work here because it's a void world. Oh well, but it's still a very impressive model, and I really do like immersive engineering. It feels to me like an early on in a mod pack sort of mod that I love the mod packs that are kind of staged in tiers of technology, where you say you've got to make these sort of devices before you make the next and the next and the next, because it can gear you into doing stuff with immersive engineering early on without skipping, as I did, right to mechanism, because I really like what mechanism does. Unfortunately, it doesn't do this, and I wish it did. Anyway, this has been Grok the DuckFarmer here, playing with immersive engineering. A really fantastic mod. You just need to watch out for the electric cables, because they'll zap you really good and kill you dead, because that's what happens with electric cables if you touch them. And I've just been having a blast making these things, because especially this, so pretty. Anyway, thanks for watching.